Ba-ba-ba-ba. 2-bit review. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. 2-bit Jesus reviews, ports and remasters,
and backwards compatibility. Ski ba 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 da ba da beep ba ba doo.
What's up, guys? 2-bit Jesus back with another 2-bit compares, and today we are looking at Army Men, Sarges Heroes for the PlayStation, N64, and Dreamcast. Now, right off the bat, you can tell there's a major difference. Look at here, the PlayStation version has CG videos, and this is like the beginning video right when you boot the game up, and as you can see, the Dreamcast and the N64 do not have these videos. I love these videos. They really flesh out the world and the characters and really got me into the game. Now, there's another part of the PlayStation version that didn't get me into the game, but these CG videos, they're a bright spot for the PlayStation version. As you can see here we go again. The Dreamcast version is actually a port of the N64 version with some of the PlayStation parts put in there. In particular, the voice acting. The PlayStation has voice acting, and so does the Dreamcast. The N64 doesn't. They just provide you text that you read. And as you can see, the Dreamcast is exactly like the N64 version, just better textures overall, just, you know, a much sharper, more detailed looking game. The PlayStation, again, they have these videos, though, which are really, really nice. I really enjoy the wacky, cartoony looking characters. It's a bright spot for the PlayStation version, but not so much a bright spot as the loading screens, which I actually fast-forwarded there so it could keep up with the N64 and Dreamcast, because with those two versions, they just pop you right into the game. Here it goes. Here's another downfall for the PlayStation version. It has those cool CG videos, but you can clearly see the PlayStation has the short end of the stick when it comes to 3D graphics. Now, it's not like the ugliest thing that I've ever seen, but you can definitely tell of these three consoles, the PlayStation has the hardest time rendering 3D objects and just 3D in general. It just has a tougher time. Just directly compared to the N64 and PlayStation version. Though, look at here, the PlayStation, they have that little helicopter there, and the N64 didn't. That's weird. But yeah, just comparing the PlayStation and N64 version, the 64 version in-game looks a lot better, though the PlayStation has those cutscenes, so it's about even coming out of the wash if you ask me. Now, here's another weird little thing I noticed. The 64 compared to the Dreamcast, I feel like the explosions look way better on the 64 version than the Dreamcast. It's weird. It's like they kind of just half-assed the explosion animations when they ported the Dreamcast version over. Now, that's just looks. Let's talk about controls. How do these games control? I would say that the Dreamcast and 64 version are about on par. The Dreamcast edges it out slightly because the Dreamcast has the auto-aim that the PlayStation version has. I believe the PlayStation version has the best controls. I played all three of these games, and I can tell you, with the DualShock, it just felt more natural to me, and it just felt better how the controller layout was, and that auto-aim system works out perfectly. And then also the shoulder buttons and strafing and all of that, the PlayStation version just plays a lot better when you actually get down to it control-wise. Here we go again, the PlayStation version just having just such a better presentation with these videos. Though I will say, one thing that's missing is, we get this overshot of the blue tank here, but one thing that's missing is, in the Dreamcast and 64 version, you have Colonel Grimm, or is it Colonel Grimm, or is it General Grimm? Anyway, whatever his name is, talking to Sarge. They don't show that in the PlayStation version. It's just the helicopter flying over. And as you can see here, again, a loading screen for the PlayStation version. Dreamcast and 64 drop you right in the action and you're ready to go. Again here, Dreamcast is clearly the best looking game when it comes to graphics. 64 comes in second, and PlayStation, unfortunately, is dead last. And just to say again that the PlayStation is first in controls, Dreamcast second, and 64 dead last. You can actually watch, I did a review, you can watch a review I did of Sarges Heroes for the N64. I believe if you pop over to the channel, go to the 2-bit review playlists, and I believe it's year 2, the Christmas episode of Year 2, I reviewed Sarges Heroes. Now, an interesting little thing here, I noticed that the Dreamcast version, the products are different. Like, see that box right there? It's like a different box. It's like a pig Mr. Suds in the 64 and PlayStation version, and it's a completely different product in the Dreamcast version. Weird little thing, I know. But I guess I would have to say, to summarize this, ultimately, out of all the versions, I would say the Dreamcast, pound for pound, is probably the best version to get. It takes the in-game textures and graphics of the 64 version and combines it with the better gameplay of the PlayStation version with the auto-aiming and whatnot. Here we go again. Here's another thing where, unfortunately, you can only get it on the PlayStation version, are these little CG videos here. They look goofy and cartoonish, but it is a lot better than I think the in-game, in-engine cutscenes that they give you with the Dreamcast and the 64 version. Those, of course, they're funny too, but these are like fully animated, fully voiced, and it's just like, and when he's talking, his mouth is moving, where even in the Dreamcast version, even though they have voice acting, it's just like this, plain face that doesn't move. And look, yeah, Plastro's sitting there smoking a cigar watching these guys die. Once again, right here, as you can see, look, the flames on the 64 version look way better than what's on the Dreamcast version. But anyway, like I said, to summarize, if I was to suggest which version to get, it would be the Dreamcast version, as again, it is a combination of the PlayStation and 64 version. So it gives you just a overall better game, and it looks a lot better than both of those versions. That being said, Dreamcast, again, it didn't sell as well as the 64 or the PlayStation, and though the 64 and the PlayStation copies are more numerous and easier to get a hold of, so in that case, I would go with the PlayStation version if you're having a tough time finding a Dreamcast and a copy of the Dreamcast version of Sarges Heroes. And the reason for that is the PlayStation version, I think, is the better overall game. It has just better controllers. Sure, the in-game graphics aren't as good as the 64 version, but getting down to it, they're both crudely made 3D games, and it's to me, that's the deal breaker, are the controls. I would like to enjoy a game instead of having a lot of frustrating moments with the cameras and controls and the bad aiming. That does it for this episode of the 2-Bit Compares. Please smash that like button, and if you haven't already, hit subscribe and ding the bell. That way you don't miss a thing, folks. As always, stay safe and play on.